Welcome to Adelphia, now known as the town of Marietta, Ohio. In 1788, the Ohio Company of Associates, led by Rufus Putnam, a soldier of the American Revolutionary War and a very important political leader, made Marietta the first permanent settlement of the United States of America in the North Territory and west of the Ohio River. The Ohio Company purchased 1.5 million acres for $1 million, but by using the military warrants, each acre only cost them about 8.5 cents. Marietta became a major trading center because of its settlement along the Ohio River. The city was well known for its shipbuilding industry. Because of its trading capabilities, Marietta grew quickly. By the 1880s, the population was around 5,500. In 2000, Marietta was Washington County's largest community still. But today, our attention is set on a historical 22-room mansion that was built by Douglas Putnam for his wife, Eliza, in the Harmon district in Marietta. Now sit back and enjoy as West Virginia Ghostly Encounters brings you the history and mystery of the Anchorage. Douglas Putnam Sr., the grandson of Israel Putnam, married Eliza Whipple on May 16, 1844. Eliza came up with the idea that started building the Anchorage. Eliza visited her uncle in Baltimore and fell in love with his home. So with her passion and Douglas's wealth, the Anchorage was built. Now take a trip back to learn more about the Anchorage's history with Scott Britton of the Washington County Historical Society in Marietta, Ohio.
Well, first off, welcome to the Anchorage, otherwise known as the Putnam Villa. The construction here at the Anchorage started about 1854 for the Putnam family, finished in 1859. The Putnam family that built this is descended from the General Israel Putnam family of Connecticut, famous for the Battle of Bunker Hill during the Revolutionary times. And he was the man famous for saying, "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes." His son, Colonel Israel Putnam, moved down to Marietta and eventually down to Belpre just south of here. They moved into this grand 23-room house just in time for their Thanksgiving dinner. And the family really wanted to make this a showcase for their status in the neighborhood. The Putnams were involved in real estate, and they wanted to show off some of that status, particularly his wife Eliza Putnam, who wanted to have the folks here in the Harmon neighborhood know a little bit more about the family and their particular status in the neighborhood. Douglas Putnam was the original founder of the house, and he was married 3 different times. The first marriage, he had 2 sons that fought during the Civil War. Captain Samuel Hildreth Putnam, who was with the 1st Ohio Cavalry, fought down in Tennessee. and was one of the personal bodyguards for General Thomas, a man called the Rock of Chickamauga. And his other son was Lieutenant Colonel Douglas Putnam Jr., who has been visiting us here at the Anchorage the last few times that we've had the ghost hunts here. And the colonel is a veteran, as I said, of the Civil War, and was wounded down outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, in one of the battles down there. The other family members, he didn't have any children by his second wife, Eliza Putnam, who was the impetus behind the building of the house here. And after her death, just a couple years after the home was built, he remarried again. His third wife outlived him and moved to Kansas. The death of Douglas Putnam Sr., the house was then sold to the Knox family, who owned the local boatyard and shipbuilding industry here in town. He redesigned some of the things, including the driveway, into the shape of an anchor, which is where the name the Anchorage comes from, and went through a series of families down through the McTaggart family, who were also into the oil business. A couple of the families that lived here were bigwigs in the oil business. Eddie McTaggart was one of the last owners here. He was very involved in the music department at Marietta College, and the department there is named in his honor. Following his death, his sister lived here and was the last of the private owners that lived here at the Anchorage. Upon her death, it was actually offered to the Washington County Historical Society for about $40,000 back in the early 60s. The Historical Society didn't have that type of money and didn't want to get into a big mortgage that they couldn't get out from under. So it was offered to a local nursing home, the first of 3 nursing homes that would live here and operate here until about 1986, when the current nursing home was finished just below us, and all the patients were moved out, and then became vacant for about 10 years when again the hospital that owns the nursing home offered it to the Historical Society once again for a whopping $1, and we accepted that, began the restoration process to bring it back into a Victorian era private home that you'll see displayed here. The particular room that we're in right now is, we call it the DAR room. The Daughters of the American Revolution donated money to restore this particular room, but this was the master parlor when the Putnam family and all the subsequent families were here. You have the very large octagonal, half octagonal windows behind me with the very large shutters and a half shutter that would have enclosed this entire area. It was designed by Henry Slocum, who built a lot of the local houses, such as the Castle, the Unitarian Church, and Henderson Hall, a slave plantation just across the river. A very famous local architect in the area. This room was the main entertainment center for the house. They would have weddings and also funerals for the different folks that did die here in the house when it was a private residence. And just a few years ago, we had our first wedding since those times, where a local couple, young couple, came here. We held about 30 folks or so in this particular room, and the wedding was here behind me with the minister and the bridegroom, the bride, and the wedding party. The day before the actual wedding took place, the bride came over, and she was, of course, getting all the preparations made for the wedding and the reception that was going to follow. And there was myself and another volunteer, Ruth Thornley, who was here at the house getting all of the different things buttoned up, cleaned up, so that we could do the wedding. That particular day, she stopped by, was dropping off a few things and making the last of the preparations, when, as we were talking, we heard a series of footsteps, a very rhythmic thing. You often hear a lot of different types of noises in the house because of its old age, but this was a rhythmic, actual walking type rhythm on the floor above us. And of course, she immediately asked who it was that was here with us, and my reply was, it must be Eliza Putnam, because Ruth and I were the only ones here in the house at that time. We've since the wedding, actually just within the past couple of weeks, we were again contacted by the bride, who was looking through an old photo album from her wedding, and actually discovered some images in those wedding pictures that she since donated to the Historical Society, and that has been a recent find that we've had here at the Anchorage.
I used to work here as a nurse. It was in the early 80s when it was Marie Antoinette Villa, which was right up in the Marie Antoinette Pavilion. Usually at night, during the day and night, we would have 52 residents here, some ambulatory on the first floor, second floor mostly bedbound, and pretty much all of the residents here had no families or visitors, so this was their home. I worked a lot of night shift, which would be from about 10 o'clock in the evening to 9:30 the next morning, and we would have one nurse and two nurses, assistants while we were here. Now, while we were here, we would hear things like footsteps, which generally was above our head while we were in the lobby, which would be actually the main entrance into the house, and also over the area which I now know is the main living room, and would be coming from the area that I understand now was Eliza Putnam's master bedroom. And the footsteps would walk around, would walk back through over our heads in the lobby, back to the bedroom area. And we always had a running joke that we wanted to put some powder on the floor to see if we could find footsteps. No one in those areas were ambulatory, and if we did check on them, they were always asleep.
The room you're in now is the master bedroom, and has been the master bedroom from the very early families. This is one of the areas that many of the local residents have talked about for a number of different years. Of course, would have been the bedroom of Eliza Putnam, who has long been held as one of the ghosts here at the Anchorage. As you can see, the difference between the room downstairs and this one, we haven't started the restoration process on the bedrooms in the second floor where we have on the ones downstairs. The hauntings of the Anchorage are said to be in the master bedroom where we are located now, and also up in the Widow's Walk, or the watchtower up on the fourth floor. We have a number of different things, and a lot of the ghost hunts that we have here in the Anchorage center around this room and a couple of the other rooms in the building. We were contacted just a few years ago by a couple different ghost hunter groups to come out and do investigations here at the Anchorage. It was written up in a book back in 1996, a local book about ghosts of Marietta by Connie Cartmel, a local author here.
We've also had strange feelings, one being in, I believe, a servant's quarters, which was on a mid-flight between the first and the second story. I worked with another nurse who was going up the staircase that went directly from the kitchen area up to the patient area, which would also go on up to the 3rd floor into the widow's walk. And when she stopped up on opened the door and stepped on the first step, took a couple steps up and looked up, and there was a woman with a long dress looking down at her, and the woman proceeded to take 1 or 2 steps down the steps towards her. That's when she shut the door and left, and then she refused to work here after that.
A few years ago, we at MOVGH had contacted the Washington County Historical Society and spoke with Scott Britton, who was the president of the society at the time, and about doing ghost hunts inside the Anchorage that was built back in 1859. And we've proposed to him that we would donate to the Historical Society some amounts of funds to help restorations, to help them to be able to restore the building back to the needs that they need it to be. And one thing led to another, and we eventually got in to start conducting ghost hunts here. And over the period of time, over the past several years, we've had many people who've had not only recordings of EVPs, but also have actually had personal experiences of actual touches onto their arms and onto their backs, and voices actually audibly heard here. And we've continued to do the ghost hunts, and we will still continue to do them in the future.
Since Mid-Ohio Valley Ghost Hunters and the Washington County Historical Society combined together to have these open ghost hunts, many people have experienced strange things during the 4-hour hunts. You're about to see some things that people have experienced during these hunts and hear some of the stories.
We're in the bedroom at the Anchorage. We were sitting up here, me and my uncle, and we heard a scraping noise that sounded like someone's foot scraping across the fireplace over in the corner.
And just a little while ago, someone had asked Eliza to let us know if she was here, and I felt a brush across the back of my hair.
There were several of us in the room here at the time when the voice was heard saying no and the hair being brushed, but right after that, 2 video cameras that we were trying to record with, the one, the digital camera, shut off. It was just acting as if there was something covering the lens.
With no lens on. See? Nothing. See?
Wow. Another camera we had, it was all fuzzy and all jumpy. It would not actually focus on anything whatsoever. We had to turn it off a couple times to get it to come back on the correct way.
And I still feel that when I walk past that one room, it still has that electricity, like if I was going to walk around the corner, there would be someone standing there or trying to talk to me.
Over the last 3 years on the open ghost hunts that were conducted at the Anchorage, there has been tons of paranormal activity recorded and personal experiences felt. A touch, a chill, weird pictures, electrical interferences, unexplained lights seen with the naked eye, and even on one occasion, a man in a gray suit was seen in the attic. All these things are signs of a ghost being present. But besides an apparition, the next most important evidence that ghost hunting groups look for are EVPs. EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena, or simply a ghost voice. EVPs are collected during every investigation and then are analyzed with a computer sound software. While investigating the Anchorage, members of the Mid-Ohio Valley Ghost Hunters have captured several EVPs, and here are just a few. Inside the music room right behind me, I have caught a really strange EVP on my recorder. It's a foreign voice EVP that we have not translated yet.
Camera has no lens on it, won't pick up no lights. It's like, it's off. Holy crap. Oh, listen. What was that? Did you?
Do you like long hair, Eliza?
Is the Anchorage haunted? Does Colonel Douglas and his wife Eliza still roam the halls of this historical mansion? There's no hardcore evidence that proves these answers are yes. But as for the ghost hunt attendees and the Mid-Ohio Valley ghost hunters, the signs definitely point to the paranormal. Come and visit the Anchorage and find out for yourself.